I like this weather. You know what I'm saying? I'll take the winter over the summer anytime. I'm serious, man. That's yo, man, that's it. When it gets hot, man, you can only do nothing. And then cold, you can bundle up and you can, you know.
I know what to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Good, bro. Hey, Shalom Makim. So we're going to give all praises due to Yahweh. Through the Spirit.
Speak loud so everybody can hear you.
Through the Spirit, in the camp class, it's going to be on Genesis chapter 1.
Speak louder. Yo.
This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1.
Come into the middle. Come on to the middle. Right about here.
This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Yes, that's right. In the beginning, God created...
A little bit more than half an hour. You may go a little over. Okay, so you figure 7:30, right?
So in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Which that's not talking about the Most High. The word for God is Alahayim in the Hebrew, which is plural, meaning that the angels, okay? Yahweh Shah and the angels was the ones that created the heavens and the earth, okay? Through the order of the Most High.
John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the powers, and the Word was the power.
Yeah, in the beginning was the Word, okay? And the Word, which is Yahweh Shah, he was there in the beginning, okay? And he was a power. And so Yahweh Shah was the one, along as well as the angels that created everything in existence.
The same was in the beginning with the powers. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made.
Yeah, Yahweh Shah, well, he's the one that made everything. Okay, all things is made by Yahweh Shah through the Most High gave the blueprint. And Yahweh Shah is the one who created it.
Okay, what's the difference between Allah? If you go into the Hebrew, the word there for God is Alahayim, right? Alahayim. What's the difference between Allah and Alahayim?
Well, the yum, Allah means power. Alahayim, the yum at the end is plural. Okay, meaning more than one. Right. So the Alahayim are the angels. Right. Yahweh Shah was the angel that was there in the beginning. That's and the elect. Okay, the elect was a part of that Alahayim, which created everything.
Real quick. This is Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 4. According as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world.
Yeah, because the elect was predestined. Predestined. He was chosen. No wonder when the elect was chosen before the creation itself. Okay, before the heavens was created. Alright, Yahweh Shah, the Most High created Yahweh Shah. What? Yahweh Shah created the elect first, man. And it's what the angels and everything else. Principalities.
Yep, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Yeah, so all the elements of the earth was there, but it was without form. Okay, all the elements wasn't put together for the for as the earth as you see it now. Okay.
Yep. It says, and the spirit. It says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Yeah, darkness was upon the face of the deep. All right, that's out of space, man. It's dark, man. Complete utter darkness. Okay.
And the spirit of the powers moved upon the face of the waters.
Yeah, so the spirit moved upon the face of the waters, man. So the Yahweh Shah and the angels, they was flying around in outer space. Okay. Yeah.
You can hear him. Everybody can hear him.
Back
you need to speak louder.
I speak a little louder.
Backing up the priests, the waters being the
So you're getting the angles.
This is our second Ezra 16 to
So you're
58.
getting the angles.
He has shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with his word hath he hanged the earth upon the waters.
Yeah, so with his word, he hanged the earth upon the waters. Right? And that's why, yeah, the earth, they created the earth, and yeah, the earth is out of space, man, which is the deep, the waters.
Yeah, when you read Shemayim in the scriptures, it's 3 bodies of waters. It represents the waters on the earth, the waters in the firmament, and the waters in the space.
That's right.
Precept.
Got it.
2 Peter 3 and 5. For this they were willingly ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, hold that.
Okay.
Because it's going to go into that verse 6.
Salah.
Got it.
This is back in
Get ahead of
Genesis.
yourself, bro.
Back in Genesis.
The zeal.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 3. It says, and the power said, let there be light, and there was light, and the power saw the light, and it was good.
Yeah, so that was the first thing created was light. Okay? The powers created light. And light was so. The power said, let it be light, and light was so. Okay? Now this light, it wasn't the sun or the moon or the stars yet, but there was a light in the presence, okay, in outer space. Yeah.
And the powers divided the light from the darkness.
Yeah, so the powers separated the light from the darkness, okay? And that's balance. Go on.
And the powers cool.
Okay, got it.
There's a brighter light and a dimmer light.
That's right. Got it.
Yep, it says, and the powers cooled the light day, and the darkness he cooled night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Yeah, so the light we call day, and the darkness is night, and the evening and the morning was the first day, which means the first 1,000-year period. Okay, because that the powers didn't create everything in one day. It took 1,000 years. We read that in 2 Peter's 3rd chapter. Okay, day one. Got it? Okay, you can read it.
I got a question. The day, it's day right now. Right now we're experiencing day. Is this day that we're experiencing from the sun?
No.
Well, you're thinking about it, so you gotta know. So where does the day come from?
It's
I thought this came from the sun.
Nah, the Lord, the angels, the Lord with the angels, they made it. It was a brighter light and a dimmer light, and that's why, like, they call it international dateline. Like, you might have a ship, if someone's in the Navy or whatever, you might have one ship. One part might be in the day and in the night. Ooh.
Elements that illuminate the earth.
If I could add, the earth was created before the sun and the moon, and it already had its own light.
What you know about?
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 6. And the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
Yeah, so let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Okay, so the firmament, which is the atmosphere of the earth. Okay, that's the powers created the firmament to divide what was going to be created under that firmament, which is the earth, to separate it from the outer space. So brought the ball.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got that in 2 Peter.
2 Peter chapter 3 verse 5. For this they were willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water.
Yeah, the earth standing out of the water, which the earth meaning the firmament, which we read in Genesis the first chapter and 6th verse. The earth standing out of the water, okay? Because what? The earth is under the firmament, okay? And that's how it's standing out of the water, which is out of space, and in the water, okay? Which is this atmosphere.
I will stop you real quick. Yeah. This is Revelation chapter 15 and verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name.
Yeah, so John saw in a vision the destruction of America, okay? And he said, so John was in a chariot that was out of space looking down upon the earth. Okay, he said he saw it like it was a sea of glass. Okay, sea of glass mixed with water, right? Yeah, so he seen earth from outer space. And he looked upon the earth, and it was like a sea of glass, which he was looking at the firmament. He saw the Earth's atmosphere. Okay.
Back in Genesis chapter 1, verse 7. And the powers made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Verse 8. And the powers called the firmament heaven, and the evening, the morning were the second day.
Yeah, so on the second day, the firmament was created, all right? And he separated the earth, which was going to be made from the outer space, okay? And that's the second 1,000-year period. Okay.
It says, and the power said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so.
Yeah, so the powers separated the dry land from the waters, okay? And that's why you have the continents, all right? And then you have the oceans, lakes and sea.
In the beginning it was Pangea.
Pangea, yep, that's right. Because, and during that time, it was one big landmass, okay? And then the great flood, which happened during the time of Noah, that's what broke up the continents, all right?
It says, verse 10, and the powers called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and the powers saw that it was good. And the powers said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed.
Somebody should have the apocrypha out. Don't know what I'm talking about?
Yielding seed. You mean there's no seedless?
Particular precept backs up perfectly what he's reading right now. Speaks about Leviathan. Give me that.
Yeah, somebody go hold that. Yes,
Bring that out now.
The night.
Like we go into the word well.
Yeah, we're going to it. Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Come on. It says, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind.
Yeah, so the vegetation, everything, the seed, the plants, everything the powers is creating, the vegetation of the land.
Whose seed is in itself.
In other words, the Most High, to show you that the Most High exists, the Most High created the earth to put man on the earth. The thing that keeps us alive is what's in the earth. You couldn't breathe if there was no greenery, no trees. Medicine is in the earth. What the hell they give you a prescription for, which had side effects on it, right? The Most High gave us everything, so we're connected to the earth. So what the hell is the Esau talking about? He's gonna make a colony on our Mars? That shit ain't gonna happen. That's all bullshit.
Yeah, he destroyed the earth. Now he wants to destroy Mars. What's he going to destroy next?
Oh, I gotta bring this up. This one guy I was watching what's his name? The
Clay Kane.
Show.
Clay Kane.
I call him Clay Gay.
Clay Gay, yeah.
On XM Radio. I don't know if y'all listen to XM Urban, what's it? Urban View or whatever. And this one guy was talking about voting, right? Called in. He said, we gotta vote. He said, because if we don't vote, they're gonna put us back into slavery. And I was like, no, it's cool. I was like, man, you ain't putting the attitude that Jake got now. You ain't putting Jake in slavery. Anyway, what I did was I kept thinking about that, right? You know how many slaughters would be on Esau if they attempt to put us back in slavery? We're a different breed of Negroes, so you can understand, right? Anyway, I went to Google and I put in, Hey, last night I think it was. I put in slave rebellions, right? So Nat Turner came up, certain others came up. But there's one dude, he took Esau, he said, look, I'm tired of being a fucking slave. He got some guys together, they fucked Esau up and they went out into the woods. And I believe that they ruled in the woods for 40 years. And Esau even said, look, we were having a treaty, we ain't gonna mess with you no more. Because what they used to do was, Jake would be out in the woods and they were farmers, If they needed any extra shit, it would come down and they would rob Esau. Then it would go back into the woods. And Esau couldn't stop it. The only thing that Esau was the Spaniards. The only thing, the treaty that they made was, look, we're not going to mess with you no more. All you got to do is pay a little tax and you're good. You're not going to go into slavery. They said, good. Because he was older anyway. If he was younger, he said, fuck it. We still going to fight. So they don't show you, they don't give you that in the history of the rebellion, right? They don't give you the one, they give you the ones that like Nat Turner didn't succeed. And what's it, Denmark, BC, and others. But there was ones where they took Esau down, man. The Amistad, the movie The Amistad, those were all jakes. That revolt, what they did, they found out that these people really wasn't slaves because they didn't have paper on them, which goes back to bond. Bond men and bond women mean you got paperwork on them. Back when you watch the movie 12 Years a Slave,
Right.
he had to have a note. He had paperwork on him. And you gave him his own name. You got your name, I forget his name. You gave him that name, but somebody from the north had to come down and show, no, this man is free.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, the yoke that's on us now is the paperwork.
That's it. There's the Gaspar Yanga Rebellion, known as the first liberator of the Americas. Gaspar Yanga was an African slave who spent 4 decades establishing a free settlement in Mexico. Yanga's odyssey began in 1570 when he staged
1570, that's when they first started bringing Jakes over here in the 1500s. So Jake had that raw spirit, man. The reason why Jake was happy to be a slave, because guess what? Their children were born in slavery. So they were groomed to be slaves, groomed to be docile. Them new slaves that came over there, they had that man, this a fucking white man would kill his ass. So that's what they did, man. They sold a girl for boy for a harlot. They made them faggots too, butt breaking.
Yep.
So guess what? Esau gonna get fucked up.
It says when he staged a revolt at a sugarcane plantation near Veracruz. After fleeing into the forest, Yanga and a small group of former slaves established their own colony, or palanque, which they called San Lorenzo de los Negros. They would spend the next 40 years hiding in this outlaw community, surviving mostly through farming and occasional raids on Spanish supply convoys.
If they needed something, they said, let's go get them Edomites, fuck them up, chop a few heads, take their shit, and go back out into the woods. They don't never speak about that. Why? Because they succeeded, man. If you go to Google, I'm changing the subject, please forgive me, you know me, my big mouth. If you go to Google, you go to, history of wars of the United States. A lot of those wars that they lost, you know where they lost those wars to? Gad. You had to have a whole list. They fought against Gad, they lost that one. They fought against another, the Reubenites, they lost that one. Esau never puts that in. Nat Turner, they put Nat Turner because Nat Turner didn't succeed. You know?
They had to get the Buffalo Soldiers to get that.
That's right.
It says colonial authorities succeeded in destroying San Lorenzo de los Negros in 1609, but they were unable to capture Yanga's followers, and eventually settled for a peace treaty with the former slaves. Now in his old age, Yanga negotiated the right to build his own free colony as long as it paid taxes to the Spanish crown. This municipality, the first official settlement of freed Africans in the Americas, was finally established in 1630 and still exists today under the name Yanga.
Where's that location?
Where's it located? In Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
I think Veracruz.
Yeah.
And they intermingle with the so-called Indians, you know. Yeah, I went to Mexico years ago. I went to Mexico City. I ran into a couple of Issacharites who spoke fluent Spanish, but they had afros. But they don't show you that in the movies. I'm gonna read real quick.
It says Benjamin Pat Singleton, 1809 1892, a former slave born in Nashville, Tennessee, became the leader of the Exoduster movement of 1879, and in later years he was accorded the title father of the Exodus. They fled from Mississippi to Kansas. So they feel like Israelites going to a promised land. But they didn't talk about that.
Esau's losing sleep over all these different gifts, man. So go ahead, you got it, Lord.
This is back in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 11. And the power said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, as it was so.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that's why we have, you know, the fruits, all different kind of various fruits and everything after his own seed, okay? And the Most High created to have a seed. Right? We know Esau, they take the seeds out, splice it, mix it with other.
Then they got another color again.
Yeah, that's right. But the Most High created everything to have his own seed, man, and to be. This is organic. You know, what you read in Genesis, the first chapter. You got it.
This is Ecclesiasticus 38, verse 4. It says, the Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
Yeah, and the Lord, he created the herbs and to be medicines. Okay? Medicines come out of the earth. But hey, in this society, what? They give you prescription pills, they tell you you gotta take Esau's drugs. Okay? Alright, what's that? Rockefeller, he started pharmaceuticals, alright, to monopolize, pretty much do away with the herbs of the earth, man, and take what he can take and monopolize off of it, right? To try to create drugs and sustain people and not help.
And then you have the fruits and vegetables and stuff. Those all had nutrients in them, enzymes, nutrients, and different minerals to help one. But Esau sucked all that shit out.
Right. Yeah. But Esau, he create GMOs, suck all the nutrients out of the herbs, out of the fruit. Okay. So we can't get the full benefits, and then when we get sick, what? We gotta rely on him, man.
And the main medicine of a fruit and a vegetable is the seeds.
Right.
Y'all know about B17. You know what's B17? I know you know. Yeah, if you give me another word for B17. There's two words for it besides B17. Laetril. Yeah. And the other one is amygdalin.
I believe it's in a plum where you break the seed, there's another smaller seed in it.
Yes, like the apricot. Same thing with the apple. The apple seeds, the black apple seeds, those kill cancer tumors. Amygdalin and Laetril. Do me somebody go to Google and put in B17. See what it says real quick. Yeah, Apostle Ball was telling me about a month ago, oh, if you go to Whole Foods, the watermelons are no seed. I didn't believe them. I did not trust them. I went there, man, I said, what the fuck is that? And they said organic. I said, how the fuck is organic when it's seed? And the word gan and organic means seed.
Look at that.
Or means
Look at that.
or means original, or actually means east seed of the east. Where's the seeds at? Yeah, that's true.
I have something.
You go ahead.
Leviticus 19 and 19. Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not
brother. All right.
Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. Neither shall a garment mingle of linen and woolen come upon thee.
Yeah, they call it hybrid seed.
Yeah, like you can actually look this up. You have something called cotton candy grapes. You buy a grape and it tastes like cotton candy. So the so-called white man is experimenting with the Lord's natural creation.
Yeah.
Right. The scripture says, shall the thing framed say that to the thing that framed it, thou hast no understanding. And that's sort of what the way the so-called white man operates. Like, why is there not a liken?
Well, he thinks he's the Most High. That's Ezekiel 28. So he can do that,
there's a reason why certain things are not supposed to mingle. Because if you look at, let's say, example like a mule cannot produce more mules because it's a combination of a horse and a donkey, or these other different things. When they intermingle, they can't produce more life on their own.
And it's confusion.
Right.
Scriptures say the Lord is not the author of confusion. Somebody had the definition?
It's B17. B17, it says amygdalin. Amygdalin is a naturally occurring chemical compound found in many plants, most notably in the seed of apricots, bitter almonds, apples, peaches, cherries, and plums. Go down here, it says.
I'd be surprised if they tell you it cures cancer.
It does say that.
Says it?
It says since the early 1950s, both, I'm sorry, how you pronounce it again? Amygdalin and a chemical derivative named Laetrile have been promoted as alternative cancer treatments, often under the Mishnah vitamin B17. Neither amygdalin nor Laetrile is a vitamin. Scientific studies have found them to be clinically ineffective. Well, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's Esau trying to. You know what I'm saying?
You know? And you know what the active ingredient in that kills the tumor? It's what is it?
Cyanide?
I think it's cyanide. Cyanide, yeah. And when you eat your chickens, you know what's in there? Cyanide is in the chicken, man. That's why Jake don't be dropping dead. He eats a lot of chicken. Also in chicken is vitamin B3, which is niacin. See, y'all gotta, you know, it's not just, you gotta learn the scriptures, but you gotta learn other things too.
Yeah.
You gotta learn. See, these other camps, you ain't gonna learn it from Johanna. Fat as his ass is, you ain't gonna learn it from Johanna, man. Macaroni and cheese and crushed soda and all that. And you got Alizar drinking Coca-Cola, man. You should be locked up for drinking. That's one of the most poisonous drinks you can drink, man.
You can put it in battery
I guess
acid.
you fulfill the prophecy you so drink poison.
You can put it in battery acid.
It cleans the batteries. You got to acid off the battery.
That's the problem. His cars have in Mexico though, that Coca-Cola that they drinking.
Oh yeah. It's big in Mexico. Big in Mexico. Go ahead.
Right. This is I'm gonna read up a verse. This is Ecclesiasticus 38:3. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration.
It is a big difference between a doctor and physician. Doctor means to falsify. Physician means natural. That's where you get the word physics from. A lot of people don't know that because they don't look up words, man.
Now look at because of the body. You see how much he's noticeably losing a lot of weight. He lost about 20 pounds each.
20.
Right?
Oh, man. Pastor Daw's a prophet, man. 20 pounds, yeah. That's from
the diet.
Yeah, the diet.
Green smoothies and stuff like that.
Yep, and the intermittent fasting. I do the warrior diet. That's 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. So for 4 hours you got to eat, but then 20 hours you fast.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, I feel like I can jump up. No.
Back in ancient Rome, this concept of eating 3 meals a day was for the poor, because they got it from the cattle. And what it does is it keeps you sedated. Because when you're fasting, I'm sure you looked it up. You have parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So when you're in a fasting state, sympathetic nervous system, dealing with alertness and all that, it's triggered. But when you eat, your parasympathetic nervous system, which deals with relaxation and sleep, is triggered.
Basically. Hey,
if you go back to the history of the gladiators, they were mostly vegetarians. Right?
If you fast and you speak, your mind will be a lot more clearer. You notice, right? If you eat, let's say if you eat a big meal, then you go to speak, your mind is like in a clutter. But if you fast
And while you're fasting, you're speaking, you're more, because you're more focused, you know.
The Vietnam conflict, those the Viet Cong, they were able to run, and they didn't know how you could do it because basically they were fasting. They would eat a bowl of rice once a day. The rest of the day they were fasting, so they were light and fast.
Yeah, like I believe like a lion. If you have a lion or a hyena, they can only eat. I believe like once a week or something like that. Like you have this guy, he feeds the lions, and they'll literally just store the rest because their body is not designed to eat. Like they'll like store the rest. They need to like eat for
like you said, brother. Esau teaches that 3 meals a day crap. That's bullshit, man. They ain't supposed to eat 3 meals a day. But Esau's a fucking liar.
Green drink that I did the video on here, mix it. I'll do that. I'll do my green smoothie and drink water, and I'll eat 1 meal a day.
Yeah, oh man, yep, 1 meal a day.
Sirach 30 and 25.
Oh,
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Oh, did you brothers hear that? You got it, man.
Yeah, I remember I did the just to
Yeah,
add.
if we see you in front of Kennedy's Mama's Fried Chicken, we gonna kick your ass.
Hey, you don't want to die like
We
Comfy.
gonna work you over.
And Comfy was drinking orange juice and eating M&Ms.
Oh, y'all do that?
Yeah, man. He was drinking orange juice and eating M&Ms.
Swallow it down.
That's a real nigga diet, man. What up?
Go ahead.
Oh, shit.
This is what you said true about people. This is Ecclesiastes 31 and 20. It says, sound sleep cometh with moderate, or cometh of moderate eating. He riseth up early, and his wits are with him. But the pain of watching and chola and pangs of the belly are with the unsatiable men.
Well, we're supposed to fast at night. That's why you have some break fast. That's where the word breakfast comes. You're supposed to break the fast.
Yeah, your last meal should be 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Today we eat late.
Yeah.
It's no good for the body.
Yep.
Your last meal should be 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And then you do that, you study, you go to the web or whatever, then you sleep and you get up about 6, 7 o'clock. So guess what? You already fasted like 14 hours.
Yeah.
So now you gotta fast another 2-3 hours. That's how you get your 18 hours or your 20 hours. 20 hours is better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then you eat your 1 meal.
They call it the warrior diet.
Just to add, when I did the research in intermittent fasting, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a paleo diet, warrior diet, or hunter-gatherer diet.
Yeah.
So you you fast for 14 and you eat for like 6 or 8. But when I did the research, the reason why it's good for fasting is because it builds more synapse connections with your brain.
Yeah.
So it's like going into more survival gear. I mean, that's survival, your body.
Yeah.
So you're building more brain connections when you're not eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the survival gear. More brain cells.
Then you have autophagy. Yeah, autophagy, where the body eats the cells.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of people can get healed. Oh, there was this video I was watching. This guy, he brought out this dude. He said he's gonna kill himself.
Everybody can hear him, right?
Yeah.
Listen to the story. Speak loud, man.
Yeah, he said he was gonna kill himself, but this is how he was gonna do it. He was gonna lock himself in his room for like 3 days, and like starve himself. I'm sorry, I'm telling it wrong. He was gonna lock himself in his room. Now by the 3rd day, he started getting better. He started saying, "Man, I'm not gonna kill myself." What happened was he starved his body, and his mind started getting, yeah.
Your white blood cell count.
Yeah.
Fight off in different.
Oh, there's a lot of benefits to fasting, man. At first it's hard. Like when I started, it was keep getting the fucking cravings. But the more you do it, and if you do it right, like my last meal, I make sure I'll eat like veggies, protein, meat. Eat different groups. Then I'll eat it, and then I don't get hungry. It's like I get up in the morning, I go and fucking do the walking. I do 4 miles, and I'm not even hungry. Like, oh shit,
You know what glycogen is? Glycogen.
That's like a complex inside sugar, right?
Actually, it's a combination of carb, it could be simple carb and protein. That's what you do after a workout. When you eat glycogen, if I'm saying it right, you can look it up. It's like I said, a combination of carbohydrates and protein. That's the thing after that builds your muscles, builds your body. So there's certain ways to eat before you work out and after you work out. You know?
Yeah, everything we learned was wrong, man. Everything, man.
Oh yeah. You eat avocado a day, you never get a heart attack.
Right after I work out, like
Some empty.
When you're in fasted and you're operating on, your body starts to operate off ketones, like they call it being in a state of ketosis, like keto whatever, yeah. But when you work out or walk on an empty stomach, the efficiency in terms of fat burning increases like by 300-something%.
You have a diet called the keto diet.
Yeah.
And keto, no bread, no white rice, no spaghetti, no lasagna. It's made like lean meats and complex carbs, which is vegetable. Like kale is a complex carb. Avocado is a complex carbohydrate, as opposed to a simple carb, which is like white bread.
Oh man, that's
the word. I mean, you couldn't pay. You put a gun to my head. Look, eat this piece of white toast. Man, throw my head off.
Hey, the guy who killed Jeffrey Dahmer, Christopher Scarver, he talked about that. I was reading it. He said every time he ate white bread, he felt crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who killed Jeffrey Dahmer. So that right there lets you know that white bread, and that shit turns to pure sugar, not the good sugar, the real bad sugar. And that's why people get the protruding belly and shit. Too much. When you see a protruding belly, that means too much sugar in the diet.
This is Ezekiel 4:12, and thou shalt eat. Ezekiel 4:9, pardon me. 4:13. This is Ezekiel 4:13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. So bread is supposed to be what? 3 ingredients. Now you look at the back of the bread, names you can't even fucking pronounce. You know what I'm saying? And what like the apostles, the brothers are going into, you eating things, and what that does is spikes your insulin.
Yep.
And people are just constantly eating throughout the day, spiking their insulin, and then your pancreas gets confused, like
gets overworked.
It gets overworked, and now it can't regulate insulin, and now that's what type 2 diabetes. And our people suffer a lot from this, man. Why? Because they eat defiled foods, man. When you eat, I got you, brothers. When you eat food is supposed to be filled with nutrients. When you're hungry, you're not craving food, you're craving nutrients. If the food is deprived from nutrients, your body's not going to be sedated. It's just going to keep trying to eat when there's no nutrients.
Hey, these people.
Your body's trying to find a nutrient. You eat that junk, 2 hours later, you're hungry again.
Yeah.
We do something as simple as, I always say, please smoothie. There's a lot of this stuff in there. I got a long list. Drink that, man, in the morning. You forget this. You got to eat. Oh, wow, I didn't eat. It's 8 o'clock at night. Because your body got the nutrients.
Apostle, a couple of years ago, I went to Jamaica, and if you travel different countries, you notice the portion size is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And when I went to order, I thought the guy was finessing me, like, because I had American dollars. I'm like, he's just trying to. But when I was eating the food, like, I was so full, and that's when I was heavy on intermittent fasting. I would open my window, eat a whole bunch of food, but you can't do that in places where the food is packed with nutrients. You get full really quickly.
Yeah, we gotta eat to live, not live to eat. If you live to eat, you eat any fucking thing. But if you eat to live, you'll be more cognizant of the choices.
This is It says what does a 72-hour fast do to your body? Cell regeneration. In addition, fasting may result in a general decrease in inflammation and improve insulin sensitivity, which brings a variety of health benefits such as the reduced risk of chronic diseases.
If you stay away from sugar and you have something sweet, it's gonna become even extra sweet. Like if you have no soda for a long period of time, if you try to drink, you're gonna be like, what the fuck, this is what I was drinking? Because your body is now like more sensitive to it.
Who's next?
I got something I want to show the whole. Okay. Thanks to Yahweh Shai is actually using Kamala Harris to bring in one of the prophecies. Kamala Harris launches new national task force on preventing online harassment and abuse. In other words, they're gonna have anyone who wants to take you to court for talking against whoever they are, they can take you to court and then they'll send you a court letter to appear in court because you're talking bad about them.
So when you teach, you got to teach the scriptures. That's it. You got to teach. You can't
personal
come,
attacks?
you can't come straight no more. Just teach the scriptures.
Oh, yeah, sure.
This system is ready to implode anyway. People are tired of the fucking government. They shall not regard their kings and princes. You got something?
You said just pretty much keep the scripture. Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. So pretty much back then it was the Roman government. The Apostle Paul was saying, look, the wise thing to do is don't buck up against them. They pass laws and decrees that can hinder us. We just, keep our best of what? Be wise as serpent, harmless as doves. That's how come we don't go out here armed with guns, cursing at everybody we see. We just come out here and bring the scriptures up. That's it.
The weapons of our warfare are not carnal,
Right.
spiritual.
What verse are we in the Genesis?
12. Genesis 1 and 12.
Okay, you know what? Let's read 3 more verses up to 15, then we're going to close and we'll finish this back next week.
Come on.
This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 12. It says, and the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after his kind, and the power saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the third day.
Yeah, so the herbs, the fruit, everything was created within that 3,000 year, that third day, that 3,000 year period.
Okay? Yeah. Verse 14. It says, and the power said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
Yeah, now these lights, now this is where the sun, the moon, the stars, they all come into play, right? And these elements were created for signs and for seasons, man. And that's why in the end times we get a lot of signs. Knowing that we're in the time of the end, you see these eclipse, blood moon, things like that. Those are all for signs, man, for the times, for the different times that's going to come.
What's the most important part of the moon? What's the most important thing about the moon? I mentioned the sun, the moon, the stars. Most important. They're all important. But the moon is most important. Why?
High holy days. High holy days, and to issue in the Sabbath, okay? Because the Sabbath,
don't let IUIC hear you say that.
Yeah, because the Sabbath is the Sabbath goes according to the
New moon. Yeah,
okay?
All high holy days goes based upon the new moon.
Yeah.
But then the Sabbath. Oh, when you go to do a leg, go to 7-Eleven and see if you get a can of milk.
And that's where you get your months from. Okay, you get your months, which months come from the word moon. Okay, so when you read the scripture when the scriptures give you the high holy days, it tells you in the first month, second month, on this day, without the moon, you don't know what month. Okay, you don't know when to celebrate the high holy days or to keep the Sabbath.
In the ancient world, the origin of the birthday cake, the reason it's circle and all that's supposed to symbolize the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That's like,
So I guess you can eat birthday cake now. That's heathen. No, it's the new moon. You ever
And I gave my little nephew this in school, a moon phases to my little nephew. He in a charter school, and they gave it to him. It was going into full moon, new moon. They said yeah, but they went off on something.
All right, last verse, verse 15 says, "And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so."
Yeah, that's right. So the sun and the moon, the stars is for lights, upon the firmament. Okay, and of course, the sun is so you have day. The moon is a lesser light for the night. Okay, so that's it.
So next week, the next crew is going to pick up number 15 verse. So with that, call it reality. Big fight tonight.
Call your shadow,
I'll tell you.
Amadu, Hurrah! That's my time dismissed.
Hey, shalom, bro. Hold on.